Welcome back everyone to what might be my final video covering my excessive purchase of Apple stock, and I'm not done. I'm going to be purchasing even more shares, and I haven't seen any of the previous videos yet where I covered my plans before the purchase, as well as right now where I show you my total portfolio now worth of Apple as promised in the last video. All of the links will be down below in the description. This mini series of purchasing $75,000 worth of Apple stock. And I did do just that. And just as an asterisk, this is the total equity, so it includes what I've already purchased in the past following my investment plan of purchasing a set number of shares every single month for the last year and a half or so. But I owned Apple in a prior portfolio in E-Trade, but I switched over to Robinhood. The majority of my money is now in Robinhood. That Robinhood portfolio is now worth over six figures, and that is where the majority of my net worth is stored. It is in Robinhood. And we'll be taking a look at how many shares now I own of Apple, as well as my future thoughts and plans. I'll lay it all out in this video, and I'll also be asking you guys what you think. The only caveat here was that Apple stock plunged in recent days, and it is now the equivalence of as if it was $4.80 before the stock split. So that is the only small caveat there, but it is right now my market value, and by the time this video is uploaded, Apple stock might have soared. Maybe it went even a little bit more down. People are predicting that it might hit the one teens before it goes into the 20s and correct itself, as it is right now in correction territory. And so right now the market value of my Apple stock is $70,841.16. Again, that would have been way above $75,000 had the stock not plunged. Right now it does stand at about $71,000 though. And like I said, I'm not done. I'm going to be purchasing even more shares of Apple. My thoughts though are I'm actually thinking of selling my shares of Pfizer. Pfizer hasn't really done much for me in the last year and a half. I know that is not a long time in terms of long-term investing, but it is more of a dividend play. That is the reason I bought Pfizer, is to go more for the dividends, because the stock does not change much in value over these last several years. If we look at the 5-year chart for Pfizer, you will see it started the 5 years at $32.85 and it's currently at $36.48. So definitely not a growth stock. You're not going for the growth part of Pfizer. You are just sticking around for the dividends, because Pfizer does pay a not bad 4.13% dividend, and that's what you get on Pfizer on each share that you own. Now, I'm currently only at a very small loss with Pfizer, mostly due to the pandemic, and the stock has not returned to its previous territory just yet. So I'm not going to be selling at a loss. What I'd probably do is wait for the vaccine to be released. Pfizer will probably have something to contribute to that vaccine, and therefore that stock might go above $40. My average purchasing price for Pfizer is $38.03 on Robinhood. I actually have even more shares on E-Trade that I never sold because those are also at a loss, so I just continued purchasing through Robinhood on my Robinhood portfolio. But I might sell everything that I own between E-Trade and Robinhood of Pfizer. Pfizer is not really doing much for me. I also own shares of Store Capital. I've discussed Store before in other videos. I showed my dividend history and an update of how long I've been holding Store and how much in dividends I've received. All of it has been reinvested back into Store. Now with Store, you do get a very hefty dividend. With Store, you get a 5.02% dividend yield. I am currently at a loss of $1,761.43, or negative 16.17% in Store, and I was in profit not too long ago before the virus, but it is still trying to come back above $30. My average purchasing price was $33.30 on Store, so if it can go above that, I might just sell Store as well, because my cost for Store was $10,890.27. My current market value is $9,128.84. That would be another about $10,000 to put into Apple. So I just might do it, sell Pfizer and Store and put that into Apple. What are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments what your opinion is. Do you think that's the right move, or should I keep that diversity and have some stock in pharma as well as in REIT? Should I keep that diversity or just go all in on Apple? What would you do? Let me know in the comments. My last dividend was on July 15th, and that dividend was $112.70, which is a lot from a dividend. And so that just purchases even more shares. I haven't even purchased shares of Store in a long time, and yet those dividends are enough to cover, more than enough to cover, just about a few shares of Store at the current market price right now, every single solitary dividend. And it could exponentially grow. The stock value in total of at least my portfolio in Store could grow exponentially over time, even without putting another nickel into Store. It does continue to beat earnings estimates. It's definitely not a bad stock by any means. I have nothing against Store. It's a great REIT, probably one of the best in the stock market right now, and very affordable, and does pay that nice consistent dividend. That dividend has been extremely consistent even throughout the pandemic. It has not backed down. That dividend has always continued to pay at the same rate. The only issue, and this could be a cause of the virus, is that it used to be that most analysts would say that Store was a buy. And now if you look at Robinhood, most analysts are saying that Store is a hold, but you still have 46% saying it's a buy and 0% are saying sell. So that is definitely a good sign. It does bode well that there is no analyst saying that it's a sell, but it is only of 13 ratings when it comes to Robinhood, but these Robinhood ratings are usually rather accurate. And I'm really not down that much because of the dividends. The dividends, if you include them, it accounts for a lot of the loss that I have on this stock so far. And as always, it's not a loss until you click the sell button. So not only have I not locked in any losses, but the dividends have pretty much recouped probably nearly every single penny that was lost from this stock due to the virus. And this is only temporarily. The stock will probably come back, and the price targets are showing that this stock could go above my average cost in the near future. Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett does still have a lot of stake in Store. They like Store. Store has continued to pay out the exact same dividends throughout the pandemic. However, you would be getting slightly less than you were before just because of the actual price of Store has decreased, but you are still getting the same percentage. Store, which is an REIT or real estate investment trust, they specialize in these long-term, like 10-year leases where corporations that are renting out their properties are in fact contractually binded by these contracts, and they must continue to pay them. So while you're not necessarily immune from any bumps in the market, Store, after all, is still a stock. You're not going to be seeing these drastic up and down roller coaster movements that you would see in other stocks. Store is not as volatile. They did take a hit with the virus, but you're not going to be seeing this insane volatility that you would see with other stocks. So it is still definitely a safe bet. However, I'm just thinking about selling it to put that money towards Apple, but nothing against Store. So right now, of course, after the stock split, I do own 590.34028 shares of Apple. My average cost was $102.01, so still a very good cost of purchasing Apple. It is still below what the current price of Apple is. My total return right now is $10,618.91, or I'm up 17.63%. Now, the last couple of days have been bad for my portfolio in regards to Apple and other tech companies that I hold, but I am still in the positive on Apple. I am nowhere near considered down on Apple. And of course, I would never once think about selling Apple. I'm going to be holding Apple forever. Now, out of this Robinhood portfolio, it actually makes up 60.99 to 61% of my portfolio. So for those of you heavily diverse investors who like to spread out and disperse their money throughout many different stocks, you would particularly not really like this portfolio. It is not very diverse in the sense that the majority of it is in Apple. However, I am young, so I can take that risk of buying individual stocks. And don't worry, I still have a Roth IRA. So if any of you were concerned about my future and my retirement, you will not have to be concerned. I still have a Roth IRA that I max out the maximum contribution every single year. I've already maxed out the 2020 amount long time ago, several months ago, and that is what has allowed me to be able to purchase Apple so freely and liberally. But I'll continue to purchase all of the other stocks in my portfolio. Right now, I'm not doing anything unless I change my mind and my instinct is telling me otherwise. Right now, I'll still be sticking to my normal investing plan. The only change that I really made is that I don't think, in addition to my Roth IRA, that I'm going to be putting any money in an S&P 500 index fund. I think I'll just max out my Roth IRA every single year. So right now the maximum amount is $7,000, but that will most likely increase in the coming years as it has been doing. But in addition to that Roth IRA, I always had a chunk of cash in VOO or VOO in my E-Trade portfolio, and that's what I used to purchase all of this Apple stock. So I could continue putting money into VOO. Right now I don't own any VU whatsoever because I sold all of it, but I might just stick to Apple and use that as my new S&P 500 index fund, as it is a relatively safe bet and almost guaranteed. What are your thoughts? Let me know down below your opinion. Would you continue to put money into an S&P 500 index fund, or instead would you put all of that money that you would be putting into it in additional shares in Apple on top of my normal investing plan of buying a set amount of shares every single month? Would you just throw all the cash at Apple? What would you do? Let me know down below in the comments. But that is my update with Apple in purchasing, as the title says, $75,000 worth of Apple stock. And I will probably do one more video following this one in the not too distant future, just showing a recap of where Apple stands at that moment. Maybe Apple will continue to go down for a bit, and a pullback was expected, as Apple did pull back shortly after a stock split in almost all of its stock splits. So this was nothing taboo. This was expected for it to have a small pullback, but then it will bounce back and recover any losses. I know a lot of you are also in Tesla, and we were talking about the Tesla stock split as well. I don't have a nickel in Tesla. I know that perhaps my index fund that I hold might have stock in Tesla, but I don't actually personally own any individual shares of Tesla. But if you do, where are you at right now? How many shares do you have? How much money do you have in Tesla? What are you planning on doing with it? How are you going to survive any bumps in the road? And what do you think are the future projections for Tesla? Let me know down below in the comments as well. But I do hope you enjoyed this brief update. If you did, be sure that you give the video a big thumbs up, smash the like button. And if you want to see more of this on my channel, I do post videos every single week covering business, finance, investing, entrepreneurship, mindset, strategy, and tips and tricks from my own experience. I also do stimulus package and stimulus check updates. So if you're interested in any of those topics, hit that big button, the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified every single time I make a new video, so you're first line to see it, click that little notification bell as well, so that you're notified every single time I make a new video. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one.